Good morning, warriors in Christ, gladiators, kindred spirits, soulmates, a one divine essence, spirit mate. This video may be personal, it may be for my spirit mate, it may be for any soulmate, but a message came through to me which seemed more humanoid and made a lot of sense in the reality of what is real versus the illusion of religious fantasy that is less possible than the reality of our free choices to make things work in this reality. Sounds a little bit batshit crazy, but it's the truth as we see it with our naked eye and from our heart, which can be wickedly deceptive, true, but human nature can be selfish. It may seem to give the appearance of gold as Christian and show love to all, but become possessive to go their way, or it's the highway for a man, or a man towards the woman. It may be comforting for a while in a relationship to give praise and to a person who is your best friend, until you realize that it's not your way, it's her way, or it could be vice versa. Kind of like a Cleopatra saying, well, fuck you, Pharaoh, I'm going to do what I want, and I'm going to have more than one hubby. Of course, Pharaoh did probably have more than one wife anyway. But my situation, which I'm sharing, is the fact is when a younger woman who is absolutely glorious and beautiful, a Cleopatra, she prefers an older man who will allow her to have more than one husband. But he's not allowed to have more than one wife. In fact, he can't even look upon another woman. And that's fine with me to a certain extent. But when it comes to soulmate, spiritual, I do not believe there is such thing as spiritual adultery. And then I have to think, if I show love on a spiritual level, I may be deprived of love, even on the soul level, from a spirit mate who is also supposedly a soulmate. And if it's a sexual relationship based on love and commitment, preferably married, which I feel that I haven't crossed the line yet, but it is a need or a want, I don't know. It is better to be a person who wants somebody, not because you need that person, making a choice there, but a need and a want, let's put it that way. You want to be with that person, not because you need to, because you want to. But in my case, I'm needy and I want to be. And I truly love a spirit mate. But I had a dream. The reality of it is that the religious systems of the world are going to tear a couple apart in any shape or form. Some religions, you can't even hold hands on the date. They will do everything in their power to split you. And they can succeed if you follow the system and live in the bubble, such as Mormonism. Sure, I would go through with all the rituals and whatever it took. But if you're not in a position, let alone pay tithing, when you can give it to the poor, or some medical reason, should a spirit mate break up? I don't think so. There's a lot of things about what you call a spirit mate would accept sharing the love, the light and the truth. If she is spirit mate and yet is a warrior, a soldier of Christ, who see beyond the bullshit of religious systems, the manipulation and control, the narcissism, the spirit of Jezebel, you call it, familiar spirits, and she steps out of that bubble, she could truly, well and truly, be exactly like the Cleopatra of Egypt and claim her victory in her majesty to have more than one husband. And I could allow that because she's sticking with me. She still loves me the most, hopefully. She's the queen. And a man should be able to have more than one wife, which Pharaoh did. For me, I don't need any more wife, but I need soulmate connections spiritually. And if there is jealousy over that, then that person may not be a spirit mate. In fact, there may not be such a thing as a spirit mate. The Bible doesn't really talk about it. There's just soulmates, and some have more than one soulmate. Marry all the wrong one out of convenience for religious reasons, whatever reasons, selfish reasons. End up with the true one who doesn't get jealous over these things, because the deepness of the commitment and the compatibility is soulmates stick together. Some stick together for good or evil, legal or not, keep it legal or not. But the thing is that some people step out of the bubble of religion and they really do become unfaithful, and they don't really care anymore, and they lose the divinity and the spark of love as far as who they're going to love, the original husband or the new husband, or having two husbands. It's all messy, it's a bit messed up, it's very Egyptian, it's very crazy, but it's reality that the Garden of Eden, based on not Sumerian lost texts, that it was more than a piece of fruit. It was an emotional seduction. Satan used emotion to deceive a woman to take perhaps sexually in the garden, and that's how lust come in the world. And for a man, you give him a license to emotionally flirt or whatever, he's not likely to cheat because he's quite sexually happily with his wife who allowed it. It's a different thing. And yet women can get upset over a man having lust, but condemn him for having emotional connection. As far as I'm concerned, because I wrote a book about this, the emotional connection for a man is better and more safer, as far as I'm concerned, than all the lust. Right? Normally, in my culture, a woman would rather a man sexually cheat than emotionally cheat. Isn't that strange? But when you're with somebody who loves the idea of being loved by men, good, wholesome, decent, spiritual, holistic, organic men, which kind of leads to orgasm, but on a high level, and yet it's not okay for the man. This is very unfair. It's very, very one-sided, and it's probably very selfish. So I don't know how to put that into the category of a spirit mate, because a spirit mate doesn't get jealous. It should be a spiritual thing, not a sexual thing anyway. It is a sin, but is it a cursed sin, or is it destiny? Because what happens if the Cleopatra ends up with a slave as the husband, which she did try to tempt Moses and the Queen of Egypt, or at least one of them, tempt Joseph, assistant Pharaoh to Egypt. He refused to have sex with her anyway. Got locked up in prison. So what I'm getting at on this video, in the reality of stepping out of the bubble of religion system, a woman thinks different, and then she suddenly realizes, you know, she's got more freedom than she thought. Though she wants to be deeply spiritual, She has an advantage of understanding the power of Melchizedek of agent time, ruling in the spirit of tongues. Those tongues, not the Babel tongues to get saved, mission tongues, communication tongues. That's all pretty much nonsense. It has this power as a warrior and shake and tremble and cast out demons and things. And yet, perhaps any form of addiction or any type of lust or wanting more than one husband or a man wanting more than one wife is an idol of some description. It's not really justified, is it, according to religion? Of course, the Gnostics refused to marry in the Catholic Church, and they were killed for adultery. But they received revelation to shack up. It's called de facto here in Australia, which most people do. Less complicated. And it was considered a marriage. But I don't think they had more than one husband, the woman. It was the other way around, as was biblical law. But I'm willing to accept that if that's the the fantasy and the role played out for real, then the man should be able to have other soulmates, even if it's non-sexual. He should have a closeness with spirit, with spiritual woman in that case. Now I know there's a lot of gurus and people of high level ranking that are not Christian that are out just for the chicks. Such as Sai Baba, who could spiritually soul travel and appear in the bathroom of some of these atheist scientist women who fell in love with him, getting away from Christian religion, and yet they thought he was a predator, a spiritual vampire. He could do that. They were deceived. There are people who use spiritual powers purely for their lust on a higher level, and it's still deception, familiar spirit. But you step out of the bubble of religion completely. You're not claiming to be some guru or something of, speaking wisdoms that say, oh, forbid this, forbid that, but yet you practice as a hypocrite things, that is really based on kind of a deceptive high level, but yet still lust. Okay? So sin is sin in that sense. But putting all that aside, not claiming any victory for yourself, you're just a human being with some needs and some wants. I totally accept a woman who sticks by me, who knows, you just can't marry for whatever reasons. It's sort of life-threatening reasons or held-back reasons. Religion doesn't care. They just want you married, or they kick you out or excommunicate you or something if you cross the line. A woman who sticks with me because of that situation, some kind of mafia situation that's got a kind of gun to your head in some way, deserves to have a second husband. But he also deserves to have other soulmates. But it's the agreement of it. And that agreement is, if she can fuck another guy, then a guy can fuck another woman. Not that I want to, nor would I ever. I don't really want to, unless it was $1 million or something. I don't know. I'm just using this analogy as a tool of how messy and things get complicated. But it's also complicated not to do anything. Sleep on a bed of nails, pay penance, pay tithing, get to heaven, or otherwise you miss out. All the religious system, which will break you, and they will match-make you in convenience and steal your light, love, and truth, and go off to a Mormon temple, sealed up, become a god. That's betrayal. That's worse than. I'd rather my wife have second husband or whatever, then that's not anything to do with religion or system or sealed up or taken away that way. Because marriage ends at death. And you can love more than one. That's fine. But you should love the person, the origin, and not betray. You just don't know how to play this out. Some people got a beautiful soul. I've got a beautiful spirit. My soul's rather corrupted. It's hard. It's been hurt, damaged, been through war and terror and terrorism. And a woman may not be able to handle that, but she can handle the spirit, gladiator power of my spirit, which is beautiful and sacred, and that's the highest level. I can lead in the spirit, and I could have a friend who's got more soul, love, passion, less damaged and more romantic, and that could be a really a romantic escape. But it's still a form of adultery. I don't believe there's such thing as spiritual adultery, but there is sexual adultery. Either way, unless it's justified by law. Yet Gnostics refused to marry in the Catholic Church. They weren't literally married, but they were with. It was a polygamy of man with more than one woman, not the other way around. I could be wrong. So how does that work? So if a man can have more than one woman, can a woman have more than one husband? That's not how it played out in the Garden of Eden, because of emotional seduction by Satan. And the thing is a woman could love the other husband more than the first husband, purely because of emotional connection, spiritual, financial, whatever. If you really could look in the future and see that it's not going to make no difference, she's always going to choose you, yeah, I don't mind her having a second husband. But she's got to allow a man to have a second wife, sort of thing. Well, at least non-sexually, and be able to communicate anything to do with spiritual love, kindred spirit, close, whatever. But then again, you know how it works. If the woman is having sexual relations with another man, the man may, out of, I don't know, some type of insanity, some type of tit for tat, say, well, okay, I'll have sexual relations with another woman. Now, this is not justified. This is not a Christian thing, really. What I'm getting at is that if you step out of the bubble religious system and you deny it, and you're at the stage where you know it's bullshit, you can do anything you want as long as you don't harm anyone. It's not a matter of right and wrong, but a matter of what works or what you agree to. You can make it work, but where will it lead? Well, if two people decide to stay together, they're not married, or they cannot be married for whatever reasons, there's enough security to make it work, and you're not basing your life on a religious system, your soulmate, your spirit mate, whatever, and you're sharing the love, light, and truth. That's better than sleazy bars, drugs, sex, rock and roll that way, or Sodom, Gomorrah, beastie thing where it's out there in the public world, which God condemned. So there's a lot of things we don't understand. I don't want to justify it. This video is maybe private and personal, I don't know. But what I'm really trying to get at is that fuck religion and do your thing, and will you burn in hell for it or not? Well, we're coming to understand from the ancient practices and essence before King James Bible, 1st century and all that, that this burning hell thing was mainly for the devil and his demons, the fallen angels. And it doesn't mean you burn in hell, you just receive a lesser reward. And you should base your relationship on love, even if you're married or not. Do you base it on polygamy? More than one husband or more than one wife sort of thing, even sexually? And it's really soul level, organic level, which is sort of high level spiritual orgasm level, but there's still lust in it. Or do nothing and just become a sexless saint, kind of Catholic nun type of mentality, and sleep on a bed of nails and die of cancer, get sick. That's what I've been in that situation. I've married those sort of women. So if two people are going to stick together regardless of religion or not, and they love each other, they're spirit mate, yeah, but does it mean you have to be a Mormon? Can you be a spirit mate and not be a Mormon? You see what I'm getting at? And make decisions. So we may not stick to the rules. We break the rules, so therefore we're losers. We're outcasts. We're not in the camp. And Jesus said, "Leave that man be. He's preaching my word. He's healing the sick." And Peter said, "He's not in the club. He's an outcast. He's a heretic or something." Jesus loves everybody. So if you're in a situation where the faithfulness applies as far as a man or woman stick together, regardless if they have other connections, soulmate, spirit mate, well, there's one spirit mate, as far as I'm concerned. physically, sexually, or whatever, but it's really based on a faithfulness commitment to the first husband or the first wife, the Queen of Queens or the King of Kings, as far as the man goes. But how this works as a Christian is, the fact is, you got to go back to where all the blood murder in the Bible is the part that Satan got in. If you believe that, and it's been proven that even God did not command blood and murder, sacrifice of his own son for our sins. Jesus volunteered. And if we discover that these things are true, then God is not condemning love, light, and truth, even sexually. We are not to suppress it, we're to express it. We are to channel into spiritual energy. It's a DNA, spiritual DNA, to lead souls that you love in way of relationship to spiritual levels of awareness. But you can't just go around having that type of physical sexual closeness with anyone. It is an arrangement. It is a type of a cultish thing, really, if the way the world's going to judge you. But don't call yourself a prophet, don't call yourself a saint and say this is in the name of God. This is just people that know that religion is bullshit, so they don't have to live up to those sort of rules. They know that hate and narcissism and murder and bloodshed is the hell part, the negative sense. There's negative polarity and there's positive polarity. And a lot of things in the negative polarity are self-inflicted demons anyway. You can't blame Satan for everything. You kick a man down, and when you keep kicking him, that's worse than Satan, demons, because you've got a body and they do not. But they got you to make the first move, to kick him down. They're sitting back laughing that these people fight to the death. Human nature is more vicious. We need to calm the savage beast. And if polygamy is a way of doing that, I think it's a great thing. When a man is sick, bedridden, or he's working, or he's gone away, or it's been arranged, she can be with a second hubby, and she's not going to age too quickly. She's going to have still her love, romance, be spoilt as a queen. Why not? But she's got to allow the man to do that too if he wants. If he wants. Not that I would choose that, but she needs to allow it. And once it's allowed and agreed equally, and we stepped out of the bubble of Mormonism or any religiosity, that's a choice. I still think it's better than Sodom, Gomorrah, because we're living in the days of Noah anyway. And all of that lower level, cocaine, drugs, sticking needles in your arms, sleazy bars, night clubbing, that's the type of lust that Jesus cursed, I'm sure. Lust without love is a cursed sin. Lust without love is a cursed sin. If it's based on love, and there is some lust in a marriage or relationship, married or not, I think that's beautiful. I think it's sacred and wholesome and organic, yes, and healing. Your choice. I'm not trying to be a cult leader. I'm not claiming any victory. We're not fighting for victory. We're fighting from victory. The victory has already been won. We're going to find out a lot of things that's not in the Bible. Never got in the Bible because the Catholic Church would not exist if it did. It was all part of prophecy. We're going to find out time travel, perhaps some type of reincarnation or something. We've already lived, and we're going to meet people over and over, get it right, get it wrong, whatever. A soulmate, spirit mate, meet them again as little children, grow up, marry. Look, what you're going to do, you're going to do. That's a better choice than murder, bloodshed, and all that sort of thing. Killing in the name of God, prophets, popes, and priests. The thing is, if you go the other way, all the love and the arrangement, this polygamy thing, then get jealous and kill somebody, you wish you'd never gone down that path. The whole purpose of this alchemy, it's more Egyptian, is not for it to lead to some type of negative soul jealousy and all the murderous intense sins. If you're going to go down this path, you have to accept it. Is there such thing as spiritual adultery? I do not believe so. There is sexual adultery. How do you justify more than one wife or more than one husband? So, but either way, if you really believe religious system is bullshit, because they're trying to break you. They'll break you and they'll demand tithing and everything. You can't even masturbate as a Mormon. You can't do anything. Everything's a sin. Then you start thinking, you don't want to really do it your way. You want to do it the way that the universe has set it up that we make choices in our spirit or soul. We're not doing it the ways of the world, sleazy bars and things. So it's the lesser of the evil, lesser choice. As we vote for politicians, we vote for the lesser of the evil. They're all corrupted. Freaking hell, Jesus said none good but God. So are we going to put Cleopatra on the throne? Is she going to put you on the throne as the king or Pharaoh? Either way, we're going to fuck up. And God knows it. We're going to fuck up, then keep the pubs and the clubs and the nightclubs and the drugs and the needles and everything, all that crap away, and go into the colony and the forest and the desert, I don't care, or the bloody jungle, and live your life the way you want, if that's your choice. You know what I mean? It's metaphysical. You can love more than one person, but you should be faithful to the one who allowed it. There you go. There's an answer. Now that this is putting aside all religion. Okay, still can be a Christ-centered, loving person. Loving God is to love God, love your neighbor. Thou shalt not kill. That's loving God. That's an obedience. Not even an animal for sport. But there's a lot of things we're going to discover that we are permitted to experience, at least experience it, for better or worse, but to experience it. I've experienced all the, from all the lower life cesspool of that type of sin to terrorism and gun to my head, war zone, and I look back and I think I would rather become a colony of couples that share love, light and truth in the forest and just fuck bloody structured Western society. But of course you get called a heretic. I'm not justifying it, I'm just saying I'm trying to promote an alternative reality of how things work. Because when you find out that your religion is bullshit and you've paid all that tithing and you've just barked up the tree, been controlled, manipulated, matchmaking and everything from the church, who you should marry, who you should not, some dumbass, convenient, whatever, you want to do your own thing, but you don't want to do it in such a way to become an antichrist. You'll be surprised. Jesus does not condemn love either way, but he condemns murder, bloodshed, hatred, and all those negative sins. And I say these things in the name of Jesus Christ. Amen. It is to the 26th of October today, Monday, 2025, and the time is 7:50 a.m. Bye.